Hey everybody, this video is part of our full-length The Onside Kick podcast. You can find that on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes. You can pretty much find it anywhere, so we don't care where you listen. Just stick around and check it out.
Well, Mark, we're going to move into our last topic, and this is actually a first, I want to say, for The Onside Kick. We're actually doing a top 5 list, an actual top 5, not just, who's the top in a certain position, but what we are doing today to end the podcast is we're looking at the top 5, so Mark's top 5 and my top 5, wide receivers in or for 2017. And what these rankings are is these are not top 5 coming into.
Yep,
these are
you
top
guys
5
can look at stats.
These are top 5 wide receivers for the end of 2017. These are the guys that we think are going to have big 2017 years and will be the top 5 wide receivers at the end. I want to just get right into it.
Yeah.
Who's your 5th? We'll start at the bottom,
All right.
and then we'll be here. Who's your 5th?
All right, everybody. Just got to chill for a second before you start typing, all right? Number 5 is Julio Jones. Ugh. He's Julio Jones because of this. I don't know what to expect out of Sarkisian. He's a guy who likes to run.
That all podcast.
He likes to run the ball.
You've been harping on it all podcast.
And the Atlanta Falcons, I'm pretty sure were the number 1 here. They could be number 2, but they use play action more than anybody else. That inflates the passing game because obviously people are going to bite on it, especially when you have one of the best running games in the NFL. That's not necessarily how things are going to go. We don't know for sure that's not how they're going to go, but right now there are question marks, and I'm saying Julio Jones is still a top 5 wide receiver next year. I just am not ready to put him all the way up there. Plus, a lot of people...
Julio Jones is good, and I've got him a lot higher than you do.
He is... Hey, top 5 is a big deal. Top 5 is nothing to laugh about.
Got him in my top 3. I'll put you on that.
2 off, But I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I'm still saying he's going to be above 1,000 yards. I'm still saying that he can get his, 5, 6, 7 touchdowns that he usually is going to get in a season. But I don't think that they're going to have the number 1 passing attack this year like they did previously. It'll be like number 3 instead or something. It's still going to be up there, but just down a little bit. That's going to push some of these other guys above him who were not that far off. Julio Jones is never going to lead in touchdowns. He's going to be a guy who can lead in yards. And I think that the running game is going to be a little bit more prevalent. Not that it wasn't prevalent before, but it's definitely going to be a little bit more prevalent, and I think that'll take a little bit away.
Yeah, I think you're crazy. I think Julio Jones is a top 3, maybe even top 2 wide receiver.
Well, he either is or is not a top 2 wide receiver.
I'm trying to not give away my answer, but we're going to get to Julio Jones in mind. This one might be a shocker for you at 5. You ready for this one?
All right.
Michael Thomas.
Oh.
New Orleans Saints. And the reason why is the first one is the obvious elephant in the room. Brandon Cooks ain't there. Yeah. They need someone to step up and be the main wide receiver. The second one is Ted Ginn Jr. is basically your number 2. I'm sorry, he drops the ball.
Yep.
So who am I going to throw to? Michael Thomas.
Well, the unfortunate part of that is Ted Ginn Jr. drops the ball.
And Willie Snead isn't one of those guys where it's like, man, that's my number 2.
So I'm not worried about this number 2 right now. I'm putting 2 guys on Thomas and saying, all right, try it, Drew.
And that's kind of why Thomas is here at 5, because I think it's going to be a weird kind of situation where it's not a huge breakout season. It's not like Julio Jones and Antonio Brown, OBJ kind of a season. But I think this is one of those years where
top 5 wide receiver is quite a breakout season.
We look at Thomas and go, I want him on my fantasy team.
Well, I think last season
him. Well, no, this is not just I want him on my fantasy team, but hey, you got Michael Thomas starting? Hell yeah, I got him starting. He doesn't hit the bench kind of a thing in fantasy because he's going to be, when you are the guy that Drew Brees targets the most, you're going to rack up fantasy points. Yeah. And I think he is going to become Drew Brees' new favorite target in New Orleans because Brandon Cooks is now playing for Tom Brady and New England. He's kind of my little sleeper, my sneaker, kind of getting into the top 5.
The interesting question for Thomas watching the season is, does he get double-digit touchdowns? He had 9 last year. Is he going to get to that 10?
I think he
the
will.
only thing that makes me scared for him is none of those other wide receivers are going to scare me if I'm the defensive coordinator. So I'm going to blanket Thomas and say, do you trust Ginn to catch the ball?
See, but I don't think you can do that because Willie Snead, although he's not going to be the number 2, can kill you with speed. It's Ted Ginn that scares me because he's a drop artist. He will drop balls quicker than a rapper will drop an album or drop a single. And he kills me. And you might be saying, well, Ricky, you're a little bit harsh on him. Yeah, when you're trying to win a fantasy game and you got a Hail Mary from Cam Newton, and all you got to do is do this. All you got to do is do this, let it hit your hands, bring it in, and you're in the end zone, and he goes bloop, right through the hands. I'm going to be a little salty. That Monday night game killed me. But who's your number 4?
All right. Once again,
don't kill me.
Don't get angry. All right, you got to listen here. My next one's Odell.
Ooh.
Odell Beckham Jr. At number 4. The reason is purely Brandon Marshall's existence.
Okay.
Brandon Marshall's existence, I don't want to say kills because it doesn't kill anything with Odell. He's still number 4. And you should still draft him on your fantasy team. But it makes Odell not in the conversation for like a top 5 fantasy pick because Brandon Marshall's going to get his fat chunk of yards, his fat chunk of touchdowns, And it's that dual monster of I truly believe that Eli Manning can win an MVP this coming year.
They even added the tight end out of Old Miss. And Ingram,
that's right.
too.
That's right. So they got some fire out there to play with.
I was surprised when they picked him up.
Yeah. So, it's still the kind of thing where it's going to be an awesome offensive attack, but Brandon Marshall will leech some of those yards off of Odell. He will leech some of those touchdowns. And the big thing is, which one are you going to double cover?
Well,
and that other one is probably going to do better.
The thing for the Giants is I think they're kind of moving away from OBJ as our guy play after play after play, where it's one of those, we want Eli to be able to go anywhere he wants. Where the defense can't just go, just double team him. I mean, you double team him. He's still going to do this and catch the ball phenomenally with, what was it, the thumb and the middle finger were the two that he had gripping it. But, I mean, you add Brandon Marshall, Sterling Shepard is going to play a bigger role this year.
Yeah, that kid was good last year.
Like Ingram, they're expecting him to step in and be the starting tight end. But you do have guys like Will Tye and Adams behind him who can contribute to this offense. So it's kind of, I look at it and go, there's too many offensive weapons for OBJ. He's still going to get his yards. He's still going to be good. But there's too many weapons for
he's
Eli
not
to
be
go, my guy.
Yeah, he's not going to be the only thing out there. And, of course, you got to remember, and I remember this fondly because I always have Eli Manning as my fantasy quarterback. It happens somehow, some way, even when I'm upset about it. The man throws interceptions, too.
Yep.
So he's going to make his dumb mistakes. He's going to look elsewhere besides Odell. Odell will not be as much of a sure thing as he would in usual years.
Mine is a guy, my number 4 is a guy who's going to benefit from a new guy coming in at a different position on the offense. Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Already the number 1 in Oakland. He's going to get Derek Carr back and healthy for this season. Derek Carr's a sure thing at the quarterback position. You're glad that you have him. The big question there, and we'll probably talk about this later on the onside kick, is they don't get that 50-year option because he's a second-round guy. But the big point for Amari Cooper that I think is going to be huge this year, beast mode. Beast mode we talked about that offensive line in the Impact rookie segment of they got a good offensive line, made Latavius Murray look pretty damn good. Now you're going to give beast mode that offensive line. He's going to suck guys in. Guys are going to come into the box. He's going to beat them. And then number 2, that's just going to open things up for a little bit of play action.
Yeah.
Boom, Amari Cooper's right there. I mean, Crabtree's also going to benefit, but let's be honest. Amari Cooper's the number 1 in Oakland.
Yeah, and I agree completely. So I'll go ahead and say Amari Cooper's my number 3.
Okay.
Amari Cooper's my number 3. Derek Carr being there full season is going to be great. Beast mode is really what it comes down to. Just exactly what you're saying. Beast mode's going to do a lot. And sure, it will take some of the play calling away a little bit. But, with Murray back there last year, that was nothing to laugh about.
It's gonna take more guys though to stop beast mode than it did to stop.
But
Murray.
that's the thing. I'm saying it's not going to change the game plan all that much. It will still be a lot of the same. This isn't going to be Seattle where they suddenly are going to throw the ball, least or second least in the NFL because of beast mode. So yeah, they're going to do great things out there. Of course, we're not at our predictions yet, but I think we can safely say both of us have really high expectations for the Oakland Raiders coming up. The not yet Las Vegas Raiders coming up.
Well, and I'm gonna go right into my third guy because you went into your third. I'm gonna have you guess who it is. He's returning this season after not playing last year.
After not playing last year? God, I can't remember. Just
Jordy Nelson.
Jordy Nelson.
Jordy Nelson coming back this year for the Packers because you look at it, you got Randall Cobb still. I know Gmo, giving a shout out to Gmo Allison, the ex-Fighting Illini, Devonta Adams. But Jordy Nelson is the man for Aaron Rodgers. And I know what people are going to say, but Ricky, they got Martellus Bennett now. That's another weapon for this team to use. Bennett, Rodgers, Cobb, Adams. But Nelson's the guy. Nelson always finds the way where if Rodgers is in a pinch, boom, he's going to go to Adams. And it's going to be one of those things where people are going to go exactly what Mark did and go, oh, damn, I forgot about Jordy Nelson because he wasn't here last year.
Well, he wasn't there 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So this year I think it's going to be one of those things where he was still coming off of it, though.
Yeah, but he played 60. He played every game last year.
And last year we were talking mostly about Ty Montgomery when it came to the Packers. I think he's going to have a breakout year this year. Well, breakout back to where he is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from that Packers team with Jordy Nelson. Of course, that's one of those teams.
Mark's like, I don't really want to say anything good about him.
I mean, they're probably going to go 0-16 next year. I mean, let's be honest.
Skull
they probably
Vikes
will.
And bear down.
But, it's just one of Aaron Rodgers can throw the ball to anybody. He's going to make him a star. There's no doubt about that. I mean, without a doubt, he's going to be a top 10 wide receiver. I'm not going to put him in the top 5.
I'll admit, 3 might be a little high. I might be like... Cooper and Nelson might be flip-floppy, but I'm going to keep it Nelson at 3, Cooper
Jordy
at 4.
Nelson to me is like a solid 7 or 8 wide receiver.
Okay.
He's not going to be top 10. I mean, he will get those touchdowns. Nobody says that Jordy Nelson can't score touchdowns.
And that's going to be huge for this Packer team.
Yeah, but the thing is with the Packers is it's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to get that ball to somebody in the end zone.
Who made the key? Who made the key catch for them last year? Oh yeah, that's right, Cook.
I hate it.
The tight end Cook.
I hate it, but Aaron Rodgers is going to score touchdowns with whoever's on the field.
I was happy they beat the Cowboys.
At
least we didn't see the Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
I'd rather see the Cowboys in the Super Bowl than the Packers any day, even though they weren't there.
We didn't see them in the Super Bowl because the Atlanta Falcons blew them out. But
I love it.
Who's your 2 before we get to the honorable mention?
So my 2 is going to be... I wouldn't say it's a surprise because we see him up towards the top constantly. It's Antonio Brown.
Ooh.
Antonio Brown he's my guy. He's got the tutties. He's got the yards. He's got to be there.
Now I'm thinking, who's your number 1?
Oh, my number 1's a sexy pick.
It's
a sexy pick.
Let's just go through your top 5 right now.
Yeah.
OBJ's off the board.
Yep.
Antonio Brown's off the board.
Yep. Julio's off
the board.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Amari Cooper's out too.
Who?
Oh, it's gonna be sexy.
Who? Like that? I can't believe that you put Antonio Brown at number 2. Now I can't help but try to guess.
Oh, it's good.
Who you have at number 1?
It's gonna be good.
Is it Brandon Cooks?
No, I got high hopes for a particular team coming up this year.
A particular team? It's not the Chargers.
The Chargers have disappointed me way too much.
Is it T.Y.? No, that's Dave.
I'll talk about T.Y., but we'll get there.
Dave likes T.Y. But my number 2, you had him at number 5. I got him at number 2, Julio Jones.
Yeah.
A slight step back last year. Coming out, I would have had him as the number 1 wide receiver above Antonio Bryant, who was 2. Antonio Brown coming out, who was 2. But he's going to, yes, the Sarkisian thing might be a little thing to get used to.
We just don't know yet.
I don't think it's going to be as huge as you say. I think Julio's going to be the second. The 1 or the 2 for this year, wide receiver-wise, and that is going to be it. Just based off of the talent he has, that team didn't lose a lot player-wise. He still got Matty Ice throwing to him. Who's your honorable mention before we get to your crazy number one? Because it's not Jones.
It's not crazy. He deserves it.
It's not Jones, OBJ, Julio Jones.
No, they're already
I
off.
don't know who you're going with, but who's your honorable mention?
This is T.Y. This is where T.Y. Hilton comes up. T.Y. Hilton gets my honorable mention. I mean, the man knows how to put up some yards. He's got Andrew Luck throwing it to him. It couldn't be any easier for him. I expect good things out of him. Unfortunately, he just barely misses out on top 5.
I'll have you take a guess. Who do you think my honorable mention is? There's 2 wide receivers I have not mentioned that you have.
Well, you haven't mentioned a couple of great wide receivers from the same damn team, being my man Odell and my man Brandon Marshall.
Odell. He's my honorable mention. He's that guy we're just slightly out. I mean, there might be some people in the comment section that have already ripped me for some of my maybe Thomas or Nelson being in above him, but Odell is going to have a good season. My honorable mention. But I'm going to get to my number one. I'm going to take him first because this is the number one wide receiver for 2017, Antonio Brown, baby. He is going to reclaim his throne this season. Big Ben is going to have a big year. The Steeler team could have a big year. Antonio Brown, number one wide receiver for 2017.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Are you going to say Brandon Marshall?
No, not Brandon Marshall, but that'd be great.
Okay.
That would be nice. The big question for Antonio Brown and his Steelers there, are you going to make it this time? Are you going to get to that Super Bowl? Because Big Ben doesn't have that much left in the tank.
Big Ben came out and said he's taking it year by year now.
Yeah.
He's taking it year by year. Now
he's starting to think about it.
You can't keep me in suspense
retirement
anymore, though. Who's your number one?
Well, this man's got a nice neck beard. All right. I'm going with Mike Evans. Number one wide receiver in 2017.
I'm not going to... I thought it was going to be a lot more crazy than it was.
No, this is a sexy pick right here. Mike Evans.
It's a hot take from Mark Weber.
With his... getting his 12 touchdowns last year. Did it his rookie year as well. More yards. Every year he gets more yards. He was at 1,300 last year. I'm expecting even more. Yeah, this team has some great weapons like Howard. They have, I'm blanking on his name, other wide receiver now.
Talking about Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson. I'm thinking in my head. Former Eagle. I'm thinking in my head Vincent Jackson. And I'm like, no.
It's a Jackson.
No.
It's a Jackson, just wrong one.
Yeah,
DJ.
Right. So there's a lot of weapons there for Jameis Winston to throw the ball to. But Mike Evans is that solid, true number one who's really, he's proven time and time again he can light it up.
I just don't know if he'll be the best.
Oh, I think he will. I think that we were talking about the Atlanta Falcons and their great year, and now with the Buccaneers possibly unseating them.
Oh, they are going to unseat them. I made that prediction already.
You did.
Buccaneers winning the NFC South.
Even though I disagree that the Falcons will probably still win it, I think that the Buccaneers are still going to be the better team.
Remember, from segment one, yours is a pencil, mine's a Sharpie marker.
Mine is still the pencil.
You penciled in Falcons. I wrote big in a Sharpie marker Bucks.
And then later, big scratch off, Saints or something different.
Watch. You know what's going to happen? And I'm going to hate for this to happen if it does. Just like last year, Cowboys winning the division. Yep. Tony Romo goes down. Shit. And everything changed. The Vikings win the division. Teddy goes down. Crap. And we changed everything.
You just screwed Jameis.
That's what I'm saying.
You kiss of death Jameis. No, I think that
we got to wait for that. I'm not going to give that award yet.
I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to have the hottest offense this coming year because they have so many great pieces. And I think that Jameis and this passing attack is going to be absolutely deadly.
Hey, I can't disagree with you.
They've got a basically, your poor man's Gronkowski out there, two great wide receivers, young hot quarterback who's not slowing down. This is why I got to put Mike Evans on top.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I can't disagree only because, like I said, Tampa Bay is going to win the NFC South this year. But let us know what you guys think. Who are your top 5 wide receivers for 2017? Who will be the top 5 at the end? Let us know what you think of both of our top 5s for the wide receivers. And then let us know if you want to see this for running backs, for quarterbacks, for other positions in the NFL. Let us know down below in the comment section. Want to thank you guys for listening. If you like the podcast, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button, but also check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast to help support the channel in another way to make sure we can make a better product for you guys, our fans. Want to thank you one last time for listening and watching today. And as always, have a good day, everybody.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and don't worry, there is plenty more where that came from. You guys can check it out right over here. Click that video, start watching it, and just stick around on Most Valuable Podcasts.